stacked up there, and it says enlist in the IRS. Besides, no one else is hiring. And again, it shows Agent Smith stacked up to go after everybody. Actually, that's posted in the article by Kurt Nimmo. I thought it was on the front page. Thousands of new IRS agents to be hired to enforce Obamacare. And that's on top of the 8,000 they already hired to enforce it. It's another 6,500 just to enforce this. And there's no judge, jury. They just take it out of your bank account or take it out of your paycheck. Who needs due process when you've got tyranny? So important article up there, sending out swarms of agents to eat out our substance. Let's go to David in California. You're on the air, David. Welcome.
Hello, Alex. Thanks for having me on. Just can't wait till the full implementation of the socialist health care is upon us. That's just going to be so wonderful.
Yeah, remember all the Obama supporters when he was president-elect going, thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to get a free house now, a free car. And Obama's like, yes, you are. Yes, yes. Yes, government is going to make NAFTA and GATT was going to be good, too. I mean, they're really going to fix everything. Because after all, the recession ended 3 years ago.
Oh, of course. That's why everything is so hunky-dory now. And I love the clip you played, Alex. That's just wool in sheep's clothing. It's like how they sell us democracy over the Republican. They say democracy is what we are, democracy is what you want, and then when that fails, you can blame the Republic. Just like you can blame capitalism when you pour socialism all like a creamy topping all over your capitalism, and so they say, look how nasty this tastes. Look how gross your capitalism is. Well,
it's worse than that. I mean, they create a mafia crony monopoly system, and then tell us it's capitalism.
I interchange fascism. What is it? Predatory totalitarianism, as Lord Monckton called it.
No, it is. It's predatory totalitarianism. And I always get these political scientists send me emails and comments, and they say, you keep calling them fascist, communist, socialist. Look, folks, it's all different window dressing on the same thing. Totalitarian, authoritarian, control freak, kleptocracy, chicken neck, scumbag, criminal, control freak. Look, everybody that's into power and control is not cool. They're not happy people. I've been around them. They're not happy people. They're grasping weirdos that love to ruin people's lives. It's like the Wicked Witch, from Sleeping Beauty. She's not invited to the party, so she ruins everything. That's who they are. That's what they like to do. They are murderous filth. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's true. They're rapists who can't get a date, and that's why. And anyway, the main reason I'm calling is to talk, actually not to you, but to your listeners. The best way, if you were to ask me, the best way to pull out of this system, this socialist healthcare, this gravy train, is to watch what you eat. They want to poison you. Everything you put in your body. If you're not,
I agree. Get healthy. Don't fix your families. Don't watch as much television, and also resist them, criticize them, speak out against them. We posted yesterday. In fact, I'm going to have it reposted as the top story. The next wave of Obama dictator contest that ends this Friday. $10,000, folks. Go print the flyers from the Obama dictator contest. It's a green link. Top of Infowars.com, hang them in legal and lawful areas, videotape it, upload it. You could win $10,000. You've got 4 more days to do it. Okay? Get involved. Get aggressive, because it shows the power of the people taking action. Great point, though. Get healthy. I've been trying to do that. I jogged and swam this morning. Anything else, sir?
No, let's just take our country back right now, Alex.
Absolutely. I mean, the most important thing is just start going to city council. Start letting them know that they're servants, not your masters. Start talking about the Federal Reserve. Start talking about how this is a banker dictatorship. Start talking about the real issues. And when they laugh, say, I know that's a canned response that's meant to make me feel powerless and meant to make other people here turn against fellow citizens. But we know you're the problem. We see through your psyop. Bring them to justice. They are the enemy. Now, there are some people in government that are waking up in their constitutional duty. There are a lot of good police, a lot of good military, and a lot of good city council, county commissioner types. But we all know the types I'm talking about. The people that think they're God, the people that laugh at their constituents, the people that want more government, the people that want to arm to the teeth against the citizens. We all know who the redcoats of the 21st century are. So we'll do what our forebears did for 15 years before 1776. We are going to identify them, we're going to call them out, and we're going to separate in the minds of the people the good from the bad, evil from good. We're doing it right now. It's Infowar. Infowars.com.
We're on the march.
Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Central. That's 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. We are here live, going out on XM Channel 166, simulcasting on over 115 AM and FM affiliates, and streaming audio and podcast, but also the live feeds at Infowars.com, video feeds at Prisonplanet.tv. Now, Rand Paul, the senator from Kentucky, has introduced legislation to try to privatize the TSA and to restrict some of their activities. And we've seen other legislation introduced to try to rein them in at the state level. But Texas last year, unanimously in the House, voted to enforce existing laws with groping. The TSA goes in the pants. Evidence by Captain Kirk having to say, "Scotty, zip me up," last week whenever they pulled his pants down at LAX. This goes on all the time. It's all part of the humiliation. But there's new legislation introduced by Representative Marsha Blackburn, and we're getting her on the line right now. Her assistant just called in, or the press secretary, and she has introduced legislation that we want to tell you about, H.R. 3608, that will make them stop calling themselves officers. And I happen to have a news article here where exactly that has happened. TSA worker arrested for sexual assault. We see this all the time. That was WJLA television. And what they do is they tell women, they pull people over and stuff, and they tell them that they are sworn police officers. They tell people that that they're operating in that capacity, and they're not sworn, they're not bonded, they're not any of that. Look, the feds can't randomly pull you over and stick their hands down your pants. The FBI agent can't. They were always taught that. Local police can't do that unless they think you've stuck drugs or a gun in there in an emergency situation. When you go to the jail, they've got to have somebody of the same sex search you. But now it's just done at the airport. They're raping people. They're caught in pedophilia. Defrock Priest as the head TSA guy in Philadelphia. This is what's happening. It's very scary. And now Congress, Senator Paul is talking about doing something, but we see Representative Marsha Blackburn, hailing from the great state of Tennessee. She is taking action as well and has introduced H.R. 3608, and she joins us now. Congresswoman, thank you so much for spending time with us.
It is so good to be with you. Thanks for having me on to talk about my bill.
Tell us about your awakening to the TSA and what your bill does, and then let's get into some of the overall horror stories that you've investigated with this group.
Yes, my bill actually is an outgrowth of complaints that we were receiving from our constituents. People would go to the airport, they would go through this issue with TSA. TSA would be unprofessional many times. And let me say right here, there are a lot of good people that work with the TSA. We know and understand and appreciate that. But we also know that there are individuals who are not qualified to work with the TSA who are unprofessional in their conduct. But the long story short for me was constituents, maybe those who had suffered from different surgeries or had implants of different types, or small children or grandmothers, would talk about the very brusque treatment that they thought was just really uncalled for. And so they would come to us with these complaints. I would sit down many times with TSA in Washington and just found that I was getting unsatisfactory answers to the questions that I was asking. And so my staff and I started looking at what was going on with the TSA. And there were a couple of things that we discovered. Number one was that through the rulemaking process, not through legislation, but through the rulemaking process. The TSA had gone about and administratively reclassified their airport security screeners, which are the people who are to be there to assist the traveling public. Now, that's how they're defined in the legislation that was passed that stood up the TSA, airport security screeners, and they're there as a customer service agent to assist the traveling public. What TSA did was to administratively reclassify them. They started this process in 2005, and through the rulemaking, they took TSA customer service reps out of their customer service uniforms, which had, the work shirt or golf shirt with the khaki pants, and it had a TSA patch on it. Well, they removed them from those uniforms, and they put them in federal law enforcement type uniforms, which is what you see them in today, which is the dark blue trousers, the blue shirt, and they wear a metal badge. And Congress did not give them the authority to do this. They did this on their own through the rulemaking. So what we thought was, let's get them out of these uniforms and return them from being called Transportation Security Officer, again, a title that they gave themselves. They deemed themselves this title. And let's return them to being customer service reps and called airport security screeners, and return them to their original uniforms. Because what we are seeing is that they exercise this overreaching authority, and they are causing hardship for taxpayers who are paying their salary. Now, a couple of other things we found as we were about this investigation was that they have gone to a system of giving awards and advancements, and you'll notice they're wearing epaulets on their shoulders now. If they have one stripe on their epaulet, that means they're an officer. 2 stripes means they're a team leader, and 3 means they're a supervisor. So when you ask someone from TSA what constitutes being called officer, and I bet, Alex, you know that there are people that become police officers, and when you use the term officer in referring to them, that means that they have a certain amount of training and commands a certain amount of respect, doesn't it?
Yes.
And what we found out was what TSA is doing is they only have about 80 hours of training, and then they are allowed to be called officer and wear this uniform. Now, let's say if you wanted to go down to the Nashville Police Department and apply to be a police officer, there are a couple of things you would need to do. One, you would need to meet certain requirements for making that application. They have educational requirements, work requirements. They do a due diligence check on you to be certain that you don't have a criminal past, that there are not components in there that would make you a less than desirable employee. Well, we found out that TSA is not conducting a lot of due diligence because they have many individuals that have committed crimes. Some of them have committed those crimes while they are on duty or while they're wearing their taxpayer-paid-for, government-issued uniform. And we did a report. It's called Not on My Watch. It's available at my website, blackburn.house.gov, or at Facebook, Marsha Blackburn, or Twitter is at Marsha Blackburn. And this report details 50 of the crimes and TSA officers who have been arrested for these crimes. You've got sex, you've got murder, you've got pornography, you've got impersonating a federal officer, there's just a variety of crimes that are there.
Well, Congresswoman, sure. I mean, I'm a news hound. I probably see every month 30 or 40 of them arrested. So you're being conservative when you show only 50 of the cases of child pornography, raping people, stealing. I saw a report